Kristi Noem just made one of the most dangerous and disturbing admissions I have ever seen from a Trump administration official, and there is a reason why she in particular feels so comfortable saying the quiet part out loud. Kristi doesn't care if it implicates her, Trump, or this entire administration. She also doesn't care how unpopular it makes them, because they've given up on trying to shift or change their political reality. They don't care about the polls, but they do care about polling locations. That is what Kristi Noem, along with her ICE thugs, have made very clear in the past couple of weeks and months, that their goal is to change the polls themselves. And it's not just Kristi Noem who recently admitted that today. It is one of her top ICE thugs. And it's where I want to start before we get to the damning admission she made, because it should be a warning for us all that when pressed by Senator Alyssa Slotkin, Kristi Noem's thug said this.
And the White House spokeswoman will not rule that out as of a month and a half ago. So I have to ask Mr. Lyons, do you believe that ICE has the authority to be deployed to U.S. polling places around the country?
So, ma'am, we're civil. Obviously, we do civil enforcement and criminal law enforcement. There's no reason for us to deploy to a polling facility.
So
No.
if the President of the United States gets Kristi Noem on the phone and she gets you on the phone and she says, we've heard there's a problem in Georgia or in Michigan or somewhere else, I need you to go and physically deploy around polling locations, you will say no.
There's no reason for us to deploy, ma'am.
Well, then you should say no, right?
Yes, but just point of clarification. Homeland Security investigations, we do investigate voter fraud, which we've made several arrests, most recently a high-profile one in Massachusetts. So just later on.
That's very different than the physical intimidation.
I just didn't want you to say that we don't do anything with voter. I just want you to know we do that.
That's fine. I'm talking about something that I think would be extraordinary in American history, which is uniformed and masked ICE agents encircling polling places. And it's not fantasy. It's not made up. These are things that the president and his cabinet have suggested. They've suggested invoking the Insurrection Act, which would allow active duty military to do the very same thing. So this isn't, someone who thinks the sky is falling. The president and his cabinet are suggesting. So you're going to be the guy standing in the breach.
There's no reason, like I said, ma'am, there's no reason to use ICE officers in that.
Great. Well, I hope that in the privacy of that meeting, when that comes down and the president feels like he's going to lose the midterm elections, that you don't buckle. Because I think our democracy literally is dependent on it. Now,
They won't rule it out. We should be hair on fire. How in the world is the answer to the question of whether or not ICE will be going to the polls to intimidate voters not just a simple no? There is no gray, oh, well, we're not sure because maybe. What is the scenario in which polling locations need to be surrounded by Donald Trump's thugs, a standing army, as we know, just intended to scare and cause chaos? Well, that is what Donald Trump wants right now. He doesn't want to become more politically popular. He wants to become more politically powerful, no matter what laws stand in the way. He said that right here in this post before Kristi made her admission. It was just yesterday that Donald Trump threatened the entire Congress, saying that we cannot allow Democrats to get away with, and this is of course fake, no voter ID any longer. These are horrible, disingenuous cheaters, a lie, and they have all sorts of reasons why it shouldn't be passed, and then boldly laugh in the back rooms after their ridiculous presentations. Donald Trump went on to say it is a can't miss for re-election in the midterms, talking about the SAVE Act, writing that even Democrat voters agree. And then Donald Trump went on to say this is an issue that must be fought and must be fought now. If we can't get it through Congress, there are legal reasons why this scam is not permitted. So Trump is saying of the SAVE Act that he doesn't care if Congress will pass it or not. He is going to do whatever it takes to move forward with his voter suppression. Donald Trump, who has a majority in both houses of Congress, is telling Mike Johnson and John Thune, I will strip you of your power to make sure I can suppress the vote. And it is not just through legislative actions. Again, we know why Donald Trump has a standing army. It is because he wants to use it to intimidate. And he's done it throughout the country, asking for voter rolls in Minneapolis, in Philly, in Atlanta. But now Kristi's taking it one step further, and the reaction is what it should be. But honestly, it's not enough.
And elections is another one of those critical infrastructure responsibilities that I have as well. And I would say that many people believe that it may be one of the most important things that we need to make sure we trust is reliable, and that when it gets to election day that we've been proactive to make sure that we have the right people voting, electing the right leaders to lead this country through the days that we have, knowing that people can trust it.
Now, this clip has obviously gone super viral, with Democrats like Dan Goldman responding, saying the right people voting, they're not even trying to hide their intention to steal the election. We cannot give one more cent to DHS until Congress ensures our elections will be free and fair. Senator Mark Warner said she will make sure they vote for the right leaders, ? And strongly worded letter. Chuck hopped in saying, this is Trump's idea of democracy. Leaders get to select their voters instead of the other way around. Well, Chuck, how about you do something about it then? You are in charge. I have said this again and again and again. It is not enough just for our Democratic leaders to say, oh no, it looks like Donald Trump wants to steal the midterms. You need to do something about it. Gavin Newsom did. He responded. We got 5 more seats in California. We're seeing it right now with Abigail Spanberger and the Democratic legislator in Virginia. They are moving for 10-to-1 maps, shoring up states that Donald Trump, I'm sure, is going to try to attack, but they are taking preemptive measures to make sure that he can't. Now, I'd really like to see something that ensures that ICE isn't just wearing a body cam when they go and steal your vote, but they are unable to do so. Kristi Noem said that we've been proactive to make sure we have the right people voting, electing the right leaders to lead this country. We know what that means. We know what they are after. They want to steal the midterms. I hate to sound like Donald Trump here because he's used this line before, but it is actually true in this case. He cannot win unless he cheats. And they are well aware of that. And they'll write it off as, the peace is being disturbed in Philadelphia, or there were problems with protesters in Milwaukee. Why do you think Donald Trump wants same-day voting so badly? Why do you think he is so after same-day voting? That he doesn't want people who are particularly marginalized or ripe to be profiled to be able to vote before Election Day, vote by mail, not have one of Donald Trump's thugs walk them down, scare them, try to get them out of line, haul them out of line. I don't know why they wouldn't. They're happy to do it. They'll steal people from their houses, from their cars. They busted down a consulate. They'll violate international law. Why wouldn't they do it domestically? Why do you think Donald Trump wants one day of voting? Because that's one day where he can cause the most chaos. That is one day where he can say that there's a riot in Philadelphia. Well, we got to go into Atlanta. Donald Trump wants it all to happen on one day because it's a lot easier for him to carry out his plan on one day. And Kristi Noem just admitted what that plan is. They are going to break every single law they possibly can to try to intimidate people out of voting, to try to stop them from voting, to kick people off voter rolls, to, I don't even know, bust down polling locations and decide that it's over, shut them down. You can't have this spot anymore. It's in the interest of national security or whatever emergency power Donald Trump announces. I think it's interesting that not yet have we seen him invoke the Insurrection Act. Donald Trump saying, well, I might have to at some point. Why haven't they done it yet? Why haven't they tested it out? Is it maybe that they're waiting until the day that they really need to? And of course, not really need to keep us safe, but really need to serve their purpose, their plan, their illegal plan, mind you. Donald Trump yesterday said he was going to strip Mike Johnson of his Article 1 powers of legislating, and he was going to take up all of that power by himself, saying that if Congress won't do it, Donald Trump's Congress, mind you, if they won't pass his SAVE Act, a voter suppression law, then Donald Trump will just have to do it himself. He looks at his own majority and says, this isn't enough. I need to go further to suppress the vote. I need to go further to intimidate people. And if that means taking away Mike Johnson's power, I'll do it. And that means illegally seizing the power of the Senate, I'll do it. That is what Donald Trump is announcing. That is what Kristi Noem is saying. It is the quiet part out loudest we have ever heard it. And they are implicating themselves. They are sharing their criminal plan. It is not enough for Chuck Schumer to tweet about it. You need to act on it. That is the only way we will be able to protect ourselves. We need preventative measures put in place. You need to be working. This is your job. And if you can't respond, then you shouldn't be the minority leader, because if you don't, you will never be the majority leader. And I pray to God that the Democratic Senate that we elect come beginning in January 2027, we have enough Democrats who understand the stakes of this situation, the stakes of the Trump era, that they do not put Chuck Schumer in power, but there will be no shot at making sure we have a Democratic Senate unless we act right now. And Chuck, you are not the guy to do so. It is not enough to tweet. Come out with a plan. Make it clear to people what Donald Trump is trying to do, how he is trying to intimidate them. AOC began this administration, and I remember it because Donald Trump and Tom Homan said that they were going to deport her, by sharing with everyone in her district. And the media, the right-wing media freaked out and said, she's coaching illegals. But she shared with people what their rights are. She was holding these town halls. She was holding these forums, streamed everywhere she could. She's got the biggest social media following, saying, here are your rights. Know them. Donald Trump can't bust down your door. He can't rip you out of your car. He needs a warrant. And did she prove out to be right? Was it important? Some people said, what is AOC doing? Oh, well, why is she being so hair on fire? Yeah, I think it was important that people knew their rights. We need to be doing that right now with voting. We need to be telling this story as loudly as possible. And the fact that the media sees this, and doesn't respond and doesn't call it what it is such a tremendous failure, but a failure that we have come to know. It is not a surprise that the reaction to this is going to be one day of Kristi Noem saying, DHS says, we want to make sure elections are protected. That's how CBS is going to write it, by the way. Fox is going to say, Democrats throw tantrum over Noem wanting secure elections. That's how they'll spin this. You have to spin it too, because it's not spin, it is the appropriate reaction. That is what we are calling for from our Democratic leaders. We better see it, or you will not get to be leaders any longer. If you care about your job, which it seems like all these people want, is just their job to be protected, maybe act, maybe do something right now. I'm certainly going to be hair on fire and calling this out because we need it right now, and we need to make sure that other people are as well. That is why, as you all know, I have talked so much about the need to build liberal and progressive media right now. We are so fortunate to have people leading that charge, like with Zateo or the I've Had It podcast, or Brian Tyler Cohen, Crooked Media, The Bulwark, so on and such. Midas Touch, for God's sakes. People, we have had huge media operations blow up over the past couple of years, and it is because of y'all. And we are trying to build one right now with Shift Media. We need to be able to shift our algorithms if we are going to shift our politics, because they are so dominated by the right. So subscribe here to Shift, watch one of our latest videos. We have to build out progressive media online. We have to respond appropriately to Donald Trump's attacks, because fucking Chuck Schumer's not going to do it. So you and I can. Keep on fighting, y'all. I cannot tell you how tiring this is every day, but your support makes it so worth it. We need to do this together because they won't. So like I said, keep on fighting. Don't let them silence you. Until next time, I'll see you soon.